I think this is good that I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, anyway, we're live. Hey
Oh, okay.
guys, this is Six
Just
Near
like
Me
that,
Comics,
huh?
and yeah, I have Doom 143, the infamous
Implement.
Doom, man. He's been MIA, and I've been
Yeah,
MIA for fucking
yeah,
months.
yeah.
So
That's okay. It's all good.
what you been up to? Kind of share your little before we get into this topic. So what's
Uh, yeah. So nothing much. So basically, I got a brand new job. Long story short, and that job's been keeping me busy. It's keeping me traveling, and it's a really good job. But however, because of the hours that I work, I just can't really participate really in anything. And then when I come home, I just want to chill and relax. So I finally opened up my schedules where I'm off Sundays and Mondays. So that's why I'm
good?
here today.
Yeah, thank you,
That
thank you.
that allows me to have one golf day per week at least, and one day to take care of your house chores, right? So like mowing the lawn and stuff. So yeah, so I finally got that under wraps, and but yeah, it's just with Sunday being like family day, or I try to dedicate that towards the East Meets West crew whenever I can get on. So since it's that, there's no time to really be well. Plus, there's football right now, right?
Yeah, I
So there's
know.
no time to really go comic hunting, whatever. And on Mondays is I could probably go out, but just not really there right now mentally for comics right now. So just it is what it is. If there's something that pops up, I'll get it. I think I just picked up 3 new books from In Hyuk Lee. There was a Silk book I picked up, and then there was like there was a couple other books that I picked up from In Hyuk Lee, but it's just pure cover buys. You know what I mean? Just it was really nice. I just bought. I haven't bought anything in a while, and then I was like, "Oh, I like this Silk book." So I think you've seen it. It's the one that she's like sideways or something.
Yeah, is that the one that she's wearing that with the yellow background?
Yeah, yeah. So I picked
Yeah.
up that one, and I picked up. Jeez. Anyway, the last 3 books I picked up was In Hyuk Lee stuff. So you remember when you brought up In Hyuk Lee?
I know, man. That was
You
Freddy's.
remember?
Yeah,
Well, it
yeah.
was
That
either
was like
Freddy's or you. I remember it was a while. Like I remember we were showcasing. What was that international artists we were talking about on the 9.2 crew, and we were
yeah,
talking about
man.
we had a bunch of international artists that were not necessarily coming up, but like people you should hear about. And then Freddy's comes out of nowhere, like you hear about this In Hyuk Lee guy,
I
and
know,
then
man.
so and he already had some books out, like that Red Hulk, like kind of people already knew about that. But then once you started opening up his catalog, it's all like, oh shit, this guy's got some crazy stuff, and he just got more and more popular throughout the year. So it's kind of cool that he's still doing really well. There's a lot of good international artists as well as coming up. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much about that's kind of it for me, man. Just been busy, so you know,
you want to see something crazy?
yeah, do it.
I got all these books that I have ordered from FOC that haven't opened up yet.
Why don't
I,
you just do an unboxing?
nah, man. This is I hate. You know what? I just don't like to open things up in front of cameras. Like I might damage it because I'm anxious or it gets just too. I don't know. It's just to a point where comic book I haven't. I've been ordering, and all of the book that I got was like months before. So it's been pre-ordered, and I just got too lazy to freaking open things up. I have books like this much books that I need to show, but I think if I just do I do a haul video? It's just got to a point where, like you said, life takes over.
Yeah,
Schedules and times and
yeah.
things, just everything's on the back burner.
Well,
So
like I said, you got time right now, man. You could literally just do a whole bunch of unboxings.
nah.
But the thing I don't like about unboxings is when they don't pre-unbox it.
Yeah,
So if they do the unboxing and they start from the beginning, I mean, it just gets so annoying. Like to me, if you do an unboxing, like kind of pre-unbox it, so that way we can get straight to the comic instead of.
right.
I mean, you can kind of like you don't have to unbox the whole thing, but just like make it a little easier so that when you open it up, it's faster.
Hey,
But
but you
remember
you
back in
know,
the day, people used to see them struggle with tape. So
I
it's like
know.
2-3 minutes. We're just watching you fight with a fight with a box.
Well,
Just spread-
you know what happened is that like you said, going to the cut to the chase where you show the box, you kind of show, this is it, and you So this is what I did when you remember Sunshine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You remember I did that. I pre-opened and I did, and fucking guy, he what he tells me is that that's not the books he sent me.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he said that to somehow, if you want to do a unboxing video of a mystery box or whatever, you need to start from beginning to the end. I'm like, no, bro, no, no, no.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, you just start with whatever, right? Whatever the first book that comes out, right?
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, I still got a bad taste in my mouth about that one, but I just
Yeah.
have to bring
Well,
it up again.
I
Hey,
haven't
so
heard that name in so long. Anyway, go ahead, man.
the whole topic is that there's a lot of crazy things happening within the comic, I guess, community, or I guess not a community. I guess you can say in a comic book related news. And the top news that I want to talk about is how Disney is being attacked again. For the rights of certain characters.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you guys have all been reading. I just talked to you about it, and you was kind of going through, browsing through the, I guess, the topic or the news that has been shown up is that Disney is being sued by Ditko estate for the use of the character of what Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and on top of that, there's
Well,
I
apparently it's
think,
not just that, but it's like what you said, like anything Ditko. So even stuff like the Falcon and stuff like that. I guess
yeah,
there's a whole bunch of properties or
and
characters or
also
something.
also to a point where everybody's piggyback on this is, I guess, is what Steve what Jack Kirby along with Stan Lee, and I'm assuming that this is going to be like a domino effect where creators will challenge to see if they still have the rights to use the character, to, I guess you can say it, to
Well,
get, well, go.
um, no, I was gonna say, do you remember that's one of the biggest reasons why McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and I think even Jim Lee at the time, they all left Marvel originally, was the whole like having the rights to the characters that they create and all that stuff, right? So when they opened up their company and they formed their company, they made sure that if you were a creator that you would have like I guess the rights to that creation, right? So
Yeah.
it would stop stuff like what they're going through right now, where like you said, like who owns what? Like who actually owns it, right? Does Marvel own it? But if Marvel owns it, then that means Disney owns it. But then somebody created it, right? And I guess one of the legal things that they were saying is like, well, they were just hired to create a character or something like that, right? So
Yeah,
in a
I mean,
sense, that in a sense they don't really own that character. They were just hired to create something. But
because they were getting paid at the time working for a company. So there's a two-sided to this. So
mhm.
it's a two-sided sword. So if I'm thinking more the creative way is to a point where, yes, I've been working for Marvel and I created this character that has been a canon in their company. Don't I have the right, or don't I have a say, or you know I need some type of, I guess you say, it's loyalty is what they're seeking. Because
Who's seeking Ditko? Them?
no, I mean, whoever the creator is, Ditko, Jack
Oh,
Kirby, I mean, these people have passed away years and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
decades ago. Rest in peace for them. But I guess it's the family member or whatever company, or they say the Ditko estate. So I'm assuming that it's a family member that's trying to sue Disney for the rights of this character that he or that Steve Ditko had created during the time that he was working with Marvel.
He said it was his brother or something, Patrick Ditko or something.
So after reading all these articles, it's come down to one thing: is money. It's
Yeah,
they
of course.
want loyalty. So I did some was doing some more reading about how this came about. Is that when Superman, when Christopher Reeve, you remember watching that movie?
Yeah,
You
of
know
course.
that yeah. Well, but the thing is that they had about the similar situation what Disney is going through right now. I believe was Siegel and who's the creator? Uh, some kind of seagull, and there was two creators. I'm sorry,
Schuster, Schuster, whatever.
Schuster or some.
Schuster.
I don't think it was Schuster.
Is that what you get? What are you getting at?
Well, the thing is that when Warner Brother made that movie, they wasn't gonna call it Superman. They was gonna call it something else. So it was a more of a like an alternative Superman style of superstar. I mean, of a
The one that
superhero
the
movie.
one that Christopher Reeve was in.
Yeah, they wasn't gonna call it Superman. They was gonna call it something else that has a
Like dress him up
similar.
like Superman and give him
Yeah,
the same
dress him up
Superman
as Superman.
powers,
The same thing.
and but not call it Superman.
Not call it Superman. So what? I think to a point where I think Neil Adams kind of did kind of help to get them the loyalty to have them recognize that these are the creator of Superman. Let's put use their name saying that they are the creator of this so and so company, and then and legal battle something happened in the outside of the court, and I guess
Mhm.
and they decided said okay you have the right to call it Superman, and that's and how everything has led to this. So I'm assuming that you know um, they want money. All the backlashes and things like it's to a point where money is now.
Yeah, because the thing is, it they can't. I don't. It can't be anything else because I don't think it can be like notoriety. I don't think it can be something like history because if you watch anybody that talks about Spider-Man or stuff like that, like people will always pay respects to Ditko, right?
Yeah,
People will always pay respects to Stanley. So it can't be like, oh, we want it to be a history thing. So it has to be money. There's no other reason because you
we,
know what I mean? Like out of respect, people are already respecting these creators already, right? So no sound is coming through.
I know. I don't get it.
No sound is coming through. Oh no, it's
I know. I don't get it.
no. I'm hearing something. I just turned on YouTube. It's fine.
That's fine. But anyway, so Mr.
Well, now
Fletcher,
you
so just to letting you know, let us know if you can't hear us. And
well let
if
us know
the
if you
if
want to let us know if you want to come on.
yeah, well, you know what? I'll just send a link over here
Yeah.
on the comment.
Yeah, Bad Avenger, if you want to come on and talk about this, if you know about it, by all means, come on, man. We're just jiving, we're just talking. I don't know what part he didn't hear. Is he still not hearing us?
I don't know, but so if anyone, we got a
No,
few hours to burn, so
that's
that is
great.
that's the link to this podcast or the live show. So here's the thing, Doom. You
Yeah,
work
go ahead.
for a company, right? You are the president of the company. You have hired me. Uh,
Oh, I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. There. Oh, you're muted. You're on mute.
okay, what about
Okay.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You're fine. You're fine. You're
Okay.
fine.
So here's the thing. You own a company. You hire me, and I'm a creative guy, right? You want to start a company, then I'm the one that who will create a program to get your company started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, whatever the program is, it works. It works better than everything, and it's top of the I guess
Right.
top of the art, right?
Yeah. I got you.
Okay, so as for me working for you in your company, I have to sign that anything that is related during the time of my employment with your company, right?
You will hand over that creation to me.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. I think this is how it works now, but I don't know what it was happening
Well, I
back
think a
then.
lot of it depends on the company itself and the contract. So, like I was saying, I think back in the day, it possibly would be something like that. Versus, that's why McFarlane decided to create, the company where they know that if you are a creator, you will have,
A
you
full
will
control of
yeah,
that
full
character.
control of the character. Because they knew that if they started doing things that they wouldn't have. Um, oh well, okay, good. Well, jump on if you feel like jumping on. There's a link. But yeah, so but yeah, so that's why they created those companies like Image and all of those things, so that you will have full control of your own character. And because that's exactly what happened, right? Like, I think at one point when you're a creator for a comic industry, I would assume it's just kind of like a fun thing, right? Like you're enjoying it, you're having a good time, and then you're getting paid, right? But then all of a sudden your creation becomes like this huge success, and like money just starts coming in. So now it's all like, well, hey, what about me? Like I did this for you guys and all of that stuff, right? So I'm assuming you're right as far as like money goes. That's kind of where everything's coming from, right? It's coming you know, from the money
I mean, it
perspective.
has to be the money. It has to be the money. They want to get loyalty. So I was watching this other podcast where he's saying, okay, so Endgame, Avengers Endgame, right? Even Avengers, whatever those two movies I guess it has grossed over $2 billion in just total revenue, right? So imagine the character they have used to make that movie, and now the creator or creatives has decided, you know what, I want to get paid. You see, and I believe that this is going to get ugly. I mean, I don't know how long this will, but it's to a point where does it stop, man? I mean, can you imagine Rob Liefeld attacking Disney because the use of Deadpool?
Well, he's kind of in that struggle too, right? In a sense, like I don't know what Liefeld's struggle is with Deadpool. Does he doesn't have full creative? Does he have? I don't know. I
Well,
really
he's one of the two creative. I think was him and
him and Fabi,
yeah,
uh,
something Fabi,
Fabian Michies,
something.
something like that. I think something like that. So like they had the same issue with Spider-Man. So where Liefeld is the person that draws it, and then Fabian was
The
the one
writer.
that added the writing, right? So they had this huge battle as far as like who is the creator, right? So I don't know. They still, I think Fabian and Liefeld still has beef. I think to this day, I'm not too sure. But the last time I talked to Fabian was at a con, and he didn't. He seemed like he has his banner that's next to his table. Will say the creator of Deadpool. So it's kind of interesting how that works. But at the end of the day, it's a Marvel character, right? So
Exactly.
I don't really know what kind of and then of course Rob Liefeld, now that Disney made a movie and then it became this huge success. I don't know if you remember, but they kind of just threw Deadpool a bone, right? They're like, here's $50 million, which is like in Hollywood, that's like nothing money, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's like for you to make a movie for 50 million is just like almost an insult. Like, what kind of movie am I gonna make with this? Right? So they're like, here, go ahead, go make your stupid little movie. And it became what, $2 billion or something like that? Like, or so something like
It
something
became, yeah, it almost became like almost like
a huge
over
like
500 million was made in the first month, I think.
right. So in what over and
It's a
I understand.
$1 billion character.
Yeah, I know it made like a lot of money. That's basically what I'm going on. So like the investment was 50 million, and then the ROI was just like an astronomical. Like yeah, it was just thanks for the invite. But the situation I currently am prevents me from participating.
Okay, Bad Avenger.
All right. That
All right,
sounds.
Mr. Fletcher.
That was
Keep
like the
shooting,
most. That
keep
was the
shooting
most
it to us.
political. That was the most political legal answer I've ever heard. Like, the situation I am currently in prevents me from participating. I'm like, all right, buddy.
You don't have to put in an illegal term,
Yeah,
Mr. Fletcher.
it's you could just be like, nah. um.
So let me ask you this.
By the way, one of the most underrated comic collectors in our
Oh yeah,
community,
very
man. Like,
underrated.
super underrated. This guy's really good. If somehow you come across this, and you're watching this, subscribe to Bad Avenger. Legal, seriously, one of the best comic collectors we have. Sorry, so what were you saying? Ed?
So what do you think this will lead to? Well, I mean, you
Well,
think they will actually get something out of this lawsuit?
no, but so I was reading this, and I don't know if it helps, but it says, so what happens if Marvel loses to the Ditko estate? And it says, while losing full control of characters like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, even characters like the Falcon, who becomes the new Captain America in 2021, and Iron Man find themselves in danger. Let me see if I can continue with this. Do the termination notices from Steve Ditko estate state the Marvel Entertainment rights to Spider-Man and Doctor Strange? Oh, it's going to terminate in January 2nd, 2023. Um, so the Marvel Cinematic Universe set up Strange, Spider-Man, and Sam Wilson as future tentpoles of the franchise. However, this would serve as a huge narrative blow. The Marvel and Ditko legal drama affects Sony as well, who's attempting to spin a universe around Venom and Spider-Man. Associated characters will prove nearly impossible if characters' rights slip from Marvel. So basically, what they're saying is that if they don't get the rights, they won't be making these movies anymore. So
No.
if Ditko ends up winning, they said, basically, the they won't be making these movies. I guess like
They can't
yeah.
because they need to get a
Um,
consent from them.
so they
From the
said when characters become worth billions of dollars, that's when the legal drama happens. Issues of Marvel creators not properly compensated have cropped up in the past before. We've heard this before,
yeah.
right? However, this new battle could prove the most difficult rights struggle yet. Okay, that's interesting.
So this is just a beginning. I mean, imagine, like I said, going back is imagine Brian Michael Bendis, okay, and Mark Bagley decided to, you know what, you can't use Carnage, you can't use Miles Morales, or you know, you can use Riri Williams. All these are canon characters. I mean,
Well, see, a lot of these characters are new too, right? Like, so let's say Kamala Khan. I got to
yeah,
be honest. I don't know who created Kamala Khan or Miles. Like, I don't actually know the creators. I'll be serious, right? But
yeah.
like, but
Look at
do you get into those situations going forward?
yeah. I mean, I
Let's
think
say
this is it.
because Miles will blow up. He has, but I feel like he will blow up even more.
Oh, you
You know,
you know it. I mean, it is coming. The new generation of Marvel characters, like I said,
well,
Spider Man.
they've already talked about it, right? The Young
Yeah,
Avengers is coming, right?
it
They
is
pretty
coming.
much it's coming. They've had so many things where they showed like they already know which characters is going to be who. They already showed like Kamala Khan and who's going to be the actress. They already showed, all these people. I think one thing they've hidden is Miles, but as far as like the Young Avengers goes, as far as like the
Kate
actual
Bishop.
the actual comic book Young Avengers, like the real Young Avengers. They're yeah, Kate Bishop. Um, they're already showing like, okay, these are the people. They're going to be set up. They're going to be lined up, and then once these
Ma-
things start working, yeah, go ahead.
no, imagine if all these new characters, because right now they're fighting for something that already been made in a phase one, two, and three. Okay, so they want to get the loyalty, or they want to sue Disney for the money for it. Okay, now going forward, let's say if there's something was compensated, or let's say Dico Estate wins the rights to this character. Okay, now this is going to be huge because now imagine Todd McFarlane with with Mike what's his name, Michael Michelin. With like I said, going back, is are they going to be the one, the new creator, line of creator will come down and start suing Marvel, or if not Disney, for the right for the character they have created during the time when they were working for Marvel.
Well, at the
You
same
have with
time,
the new characters.
but you got to figure at the same time, like they have to have gotten smarter, right? As far as like when they make a contract. So going forward, I think right now a lot of the legal issues, if you notice, has been the older creators, right? So I think I would assume that going forward, Marvel gotten smarter with their creators. But I mean, I understand what you're saying, right? Like if these things start blowing up, they might start like redacting their contract and being
You
loud,
know
like
it.
well, blah blah blah,
But
whatever it
this is
is,
the
right?
only thing. This is the only thing that Disney has going for them right now. As of right now, I can't get into that because I haven't read too much of it. But here's the thing: Disney, the only thing that going for them is right now. If you work for the company during the time at Marvel, anything that you do under that company, it is
It's
owned
on.
by that company.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only thing they have. That's the only thing they have again. With this is that during the time of Dickel, Steve Kirby, Stan Lee, they were all working for the company called Marvel. Now, anything that is created during that time, Marvel has the right and has a sole position of that character because they have been paid to create and also to utilize that character, and they did get paid, right? Now, who knew that this character was going to be a billion-dollar character or industry
Hmm.
as we speak right now? So
Hmm.
going back again is yes, you have the creator, you have you are the sole creator. What, but do you own it? And I believe that it is if you work for a certain company, regardless what right now it can be all worded by contract, but during that time it was just more of a handshake.
Hmm.
It's like, all right, you created what Steve Doctor Strange, handshake, we get to use it. Okay. And from my understanding is that Steve Ditko didn't really care for this. He told Marvel, you can have the character because he was out decades. I mean, long before even Marvel became a Marvel.
Hmm.
So
Well,
I don't know, man.
it seems like they settled out of court the Kirby case, or they settled. Well, I don't know if they settled out of court, but I knew. What is that? But what is stopping the creators of these new characters from following suit if these new characters pop up? Yeah,
Exactly.
we're just talking about that. So, from my understanding, it seems like when the Kirby thing was happening, um, it seems like Disney just they just settled out of court, and they just probably just gave like, here, let's just end this whole thing. Here's X amount of money. Let's just end this whole thing. I could assume because that happened. Now you have the following creators coming out, and they're like, well, we're gonna follow suit what Kirby did, and then Disney's gonna do it again. They're gonna be like, you know what? Let's just settle this out of court. Here's X amount of money. You know what I mean? So I think that's what this is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're right. It's just going to be out of money because, but I think they have to be better with their contracts probably going forward. I'm assuming they did. They got better. I mean, you can imagine if you and I owned a business and then this happened, right? Going forward, we would look over our contracts to make sure that anybody we hire going forward, like we have a rock solid contract.
Oh yeah.
You know what
No.
I mean? So I would assume like when this happened, the legal companies got together, right? And they're like, look, we got to look over this contract. Because I'm sure back in the 60s, you were just signing an application. And I don't even know what kind of paperwork they had. It could have just been hearsay, right?
Exactly.
Right.
It's a
So
handshake.
yeah. So I think that's the problem maybe possibly back in the day is that like there was no legal contract. And then I guess maybe that's what they're getting at. But so it's like he said, she said, right? Kind of a deal, right? We're like, well, we said if you create somebody, it belongs to us, but then it's not in a legal contract. So I'm sure going forward, they changed things around. They probably even changed it after the '90s when
When
McFarlane
we
them
fall in,
all
yeah.
when they all decided to dig out. Like you had like the three or actually four. I think even Silvestri at that time was with
Sylvester, yeah,
Marvel,
he was doing the
and
X-Men.
man, those guys were like the biggest deals. Like you had Jim Lee, you had Silvestri, you had Rob Liefeld, and you had McFarlane. All one day, just decided to just walk out.
Yeah, imagine if Chris Claremont decides to get involved with this. Imagine what the X-Men franchise will happen, right?
But
So
he
anyway,
didn't
we can
create
go
X.
on and just speculate what could happen, but I mean,
I
I
don't
hope
think so
so.
much. I don't think it's a Chris Claremont kind of thing. But I think anybody who creates a character going forward, I think they probably got to have a better contract.
You know, they better.
Yeah,
No.
that's kind of interesting. I didn't even like I said, I've been so out of the loop. I didn't even like know that this was going on.
Yeah, well, this and
But there has
other,
been a lot of Marvel lawsuits, right? Black Widow just
yeah,
tried to
Black
sue
Suit,
for
yeah.
her. I guess they weren't supposed to release it, or she only wanted it released in the theaters or something like that. That's why it was
What?
held up for so long.
Yep.
Because
And she's suing Disney for over $100 million of the money that she could have made if was a theatrical release only instead of being streamed on Disney Plus. So I mean that's a whole different thing. But here's another one that kind of it's kind of interesting. Is to a point where Shang-Chi. Have you saw that movie yet?
oh, so good,
Yeah, it's good, right? But
so
here's
good.
the thing. It's doing awesome in US. I mean, I think for the past 3 weeks now, it's been a number one movie overall. I think it has made over I don't know, about close to 300 million in US market only. Now, here's the thing. It's due to, I guess, social media that certain actors or whoever was involved in that movie or has said something to piss a country off. So China said, you know what? We don't want your movie to be released in China. And that's almost like $500 million guaranteed money they could make is not there anymore. So what do you
Wait,
think?
so what happened? So the some one of the characters from the Shang-Chi movie
Well,
said something?
here's the thing. I don't know exactly what the comment were, but there was, I think there was a tweet or interview that the character who plays Shang-Chi had made a comment, and that somehow escalated to a point where China said, you know what? Due to that certain comment, we will not have you release that movie in China.
Mm,
So here's the thing for me is that okay, all the way through Avengers, when the first Avengers came, Captain America, when Marvel started making the movie, I have noticed that Chinese investors, more than 40% of the money that is been invested in movies is from China investors. There's a lot of Chinese investor money in making these live action superhero movies. I could be wrong about the percentage, but I'm sure it's over 30% or maybe close to 40% of the money is being invested in all these superhero movies from China. China's investors. Now,
go ahead.
why do you think China's are why do you think Chinese the country itself or the government itself why do you think they are doing this?
So the only thing I can think of is, so like China is a communist country, right? So they try to really control um, anything that the people living in China sees as media, right? Like for people who don't know, like China doesn't have Google, for example. So they don't have any access to Google. They have their own website. I think it's called Baidu or something, Baidu.com or something. And I think that's their version of Google. But on Baidu.com, it's only the information that the Chinese government will allow you to release, right? Um, I wouldn't create any new characters. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, going back to that subject, I think a lot of it is what's on their contract, right? Because you got to figure there's got to be a lot of things that's going on, right? Like if you're a brand new artist and you got a lot of great ideas, like you want to move up on the chain and stuff, like you want to do big things, you might just create new characters. You know what I mean? Because you want to do big things within the company. And then, if you're young, dumb, then you might not even think about the contract or whatever. And then one of your characters pop and becomes huge. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? Like, so where's my money, right? Where's my money? But then they can be like, well, you signed this contract. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of hard to say what you would do really if you was in this situation. We're just kind of the outside standing and outside watching, right? So it's kind of hard to say what you would and wouldn't do. But as far as Shang-Chi, so what I was getting at is that there's a lot of censoring that China may have to do on the movie, what they want to release and not release, and censor all this stuff. So,
No,
uh,
but they'd already done that. They had done a mini reshoot so that it will be, actually it's to a point where Shang-Chi has done a reshoot, and they kind of tweak the whole story just for the Chinese market. So I don't understand why you okay saying that, okay, Disney and Marvel have done what you have asked to making sure that this will be released in China, and now because of that one comment they're saying no, we won't do it anymore. I mean, it's it's a monopoly game, man. And if you ask me, I mean, it's to a point where we did everything what your government has asked, and now because of that one comment, you won't release the movie. I mean, it's a great movie. I
it was
enjoyed
a
it.
great movie. It was a fantastic movie.
You know.
Um, yeah, I'm just saying, like, so dominant resistance to. I don't know. So there's some stuff over here. So all films have to be approved in order to be shown within the country. So the rules including promoting resistance to the law, showing pornography, showcasing homosexuality, pushing other religions, and insulting Chinese traditions, right? So you
Yeah.
got to make sure none of those things come up. So the problem with Shang-Chi is the links to Fu Manchu, Shang-Chi's father in the original Marvel comics. The character, Fu Manchu,
Yeah.
was created by white novelist Sax Rohmer, who had not been to China, is based on a racist idea of a. So I guess, I guess, so I guess what they is that they dug so deep as far as like who is Shang Chi. I think that's what they did.
Yeah. It's a Fu Manchu son. Fu
No, no,
Manchu.
no. So I guess that's what they did. So China, I guess that's what China did. Is they're like, okay, well, who is this character? Let's go dig into his history, and then I guess they found like his history, and then maybe it seemed a little racist. But yeah, like when was a character created?
70s.
70s.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of things that was probably said and done that maybe at that time they didn't think was too bad, but then now you fast forward 2021 and it's like, ooh,
Yeah,
like
I know.
you
It's
ever
it's
watch you ever
crazy.
watch stand-up comedy from like just 5 years ago?
Oh
They
man,
used
they
to
can't
use
do that
words
shit
like
anymore.
retarded, faggot, um, like all of these things. Now, if you watch a stand-up comic and you hear those things, like like
Yeah.
you jump back. You're like, whoa, what the hell is, you can't say that, right? So, um, so it's probably something that happened, but I don't know, man. I think they should let them see it because it's such a fantastic
It's a
movie, man.
great movie.
I don't think I've enjoyed a movie like that since, I don't know, before Black Widow, that's for sure.
Yeah, the
Black
Black. All right.
Widow, it was all right, but I honestly, so the reason I thought it was held off was I honestly thought they was going to release something grand, and they didn't want to release anything because something big was going to come out of the Black Widow movie. Um, Nothing came out of the Black Widow movie except for the sister, I guess. Nothing really
No.
nothing truly big. I mean, there was like a thing about a mutant. It was like the first mutant in the MCU. So that's a hint off to the X-Men coming into the MCU, but which we already knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
It just when is kind of the topic, right? It's kind of like telling me that hey, the Fantastic Four is coming. Like, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, like, yeah, we know. We know already, but it's just when is it gonna happen, right? Um,
Yeah,
so yeah,
grab that
nothing.
Fantastic Four #1, guys. That could be the next, a spec play there, guys.
Well, I don't know about spec. I mean, you should probably grab it if you can anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not a cheap book. Don't buy a Shetty grade though. Try to buy something a little decent at
Nah,
least.
I'm done with comics, man. I think I'm done for a while. I think for another year. I
You
think
say you're
I'm.
done for a while, and then there's like a pile of unopened
Yeah,
comics
but this
right to the
this
left of
this
you.
this pile has been sitting here for months now. I mean, Gomez sent me a book that I requested months before it came out, House of Slaughter. You know, that free comic book day. He
You
sent me
just
a
have.
package. Yeah, he sent me a package, and it's still sitting there. You know, I mean, it's just come to a point where comic is not.
It's just not on the top of your list anymore.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's not.
No, I know how you feel. It's not on top of mine too. Right now, like I'm so focused on any free time I have, I want to go play golf.
Oh, exactly.
Even if it's at the driving range, even if it's I would rather go play golf. But the thing about it is, I really don't have a lot of time. And today is actually just kind of an awkward day. So normally on Sundays when we play golf, I like to play in the morning so that when we come in the afternoon, either I have time for the East meets West, or I have time to watch Sunday night football. Well, I mean, right now, right? And then, that way I can relax. It's my first day off, right? I work literally all the way through Saturday, and then I get Sunday, Mondays off, right? So of course I want to just relax and stuff. And you know, just there was a time I would be like, oh, let's use Sunday for comic digging day. That would be great. Or go to the flea market, But that's just not where I am right now. So you never know. I might get that. Technically, this would be my third wind, but the market right now is so crazy.
It is, man. It's
It's
unpredictable.
so crazy. The prices that like books that we've seen that have gone for X amount is like astronomically high. And some of these books I knew was going to be worth something if I just waited it out, but I didn't think it was going to be like you know the prices that I'm seeing now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I'm selling all of my, a lot of the key
Isn't
books or
that
the books
why
that I have.
Mephisto? So is that what? Isn't that why Mephisto will never be seen in a movie due to the
Yeah,
Chinese regulations?
and that's true because they don't want to deal with anything that is devilish or has hell or things like that.
Yeah,
I
and that's
picked it up
and
for
like you said,
$100.
man. Like China is a huge. Oh, nice.
$100.
Yeah, remember
I
when that
sold
book
my 9.8 newsstand for about 900, and I
when it
picked
when
it
it
up
first
for
came out when that movie first came out?
no, no, no. After you remember after it came out, you remember how that movie bombed?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I do.
yeah, and remember when Hickman redid re
This is why you never invest in villains. We keep saying it. Do not invest your money in villains
But here's the
unless.
thing.
Mm,
Here's the thing about Apocalypse is that yes, he was a villain, but now when Hickman rewrote this whole X-Men, he recalibrated things where the past 10 years it didn't exist, and now Apocalypse it became a part of. He's a good guy. He's an anti-villain. He's not a
I mean,
villain.
he's not a good guy. He's an anti, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Anti-hero.
anti-hero, I guess you can call it anti-hero, or what
No,
do you call that?
anti-villain is a hero.
Right, anti-villain, right?
Anti-hero is like Deadpool,
Villain.
right? So
Okay,
it's
okay,
like I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna go after the bad guys only, but I'm gonna kill them. Like
yeah.
I'm
So,
not gonna like turn them into jail like Batman does.
so he
Have,
worked with X. He works with Professor X. I mean, he's a part of the good guys now and part of the X Men. That's why I picked him up. Um, but I sold it because there was some speculation about Apocalypse, and I sold it. And this 9.6 came, and this is a probably a 9.8 candidate. So I'm gonna crack it open, and see if I can get a 9.8. And but anyway, so that's this the kind of stuff that I've been picked up. Like I got this like fucking months ago, and I still haven't showed it till now. But yeah, so comic
Yeah,
book.
I mean, it's one of those books that you can always buy and sell. It's never going to be anything crazy, you know.
No.
But if there's one little news about it, that's it, right? It's one of those books that
No.
they blow up so crazy, and then if you want to release it and pick up something else, that's a good time, right? To just let it go and pick up something else. So I
Yeah.
mean, the market has always been the same. If you're really good at paying attention to the news and paying attention to specs, you could do really good as a flipper. Like,
Yeah, but I don't have the time to go out to
I don't
be.
no, I don't have the time to. I don't have the time for the news or
That's
anything.
that's the whole thing. It's like, hey, if I could find a day or two to drive around Seattle or wherever in Washington, go
Mhm.
through the dollar bin and find all the spec books and just flip it for $20, $30. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
but I just don't have the time. You know.
Yeah, what's up, Ark? Oh, Archimist, congratulations. Um, so is your baby born on the 21st? I'm just curious to know if your baby was born on the 21st or the 20th. But first of all, huge congratulations, man. I don't know if you know. I don't know if that's his first one or
Who who gave birth?
his wife. The one that takes control of Skeleton Comics.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
wow!
So,
Congrats. I
but I don't
think
know if it was on the 21st. Yeah, he was. Thank you. So, no, the reason I asked you, so I don't know if you know this, but so Thoro's kid is the birthday's on the 21st. Arkhim's kid is on the 21st, and then I'm on the 21st. So my birthday was this past 21st. So that's why when I saw the baby, I was all like, hey, we got the same birthday.
Oh, damn! Yeah, I didn't
And
know
then
you were.
apparently,
Oh, that's right. You're born in September.
yeah,
Fuck, my
September
birthday was on
21.
the 16th.
Actually, today's my anniversary. So today's the 26th. So Carol's letting me hang out with you for a little while as part of my
Hey, thanks, Carol.
as part of my anniversary gift. I,
Geez, man, he's been
I
gone
picked
for
up
like
a
months.
I picked up
And
a brand new tailor-made sim set from
ooh,
driver all the way down to the irons, and so that was my gift. And then Brady's birthday is on the 29th, so there's a lot going on this month. And then, like I
damn.
said, I just picked up. Oh yeah, no, I. Why are you here? Aren't you supposed to be like watching a kid or something? Aren't you supposed to be doing father duty? Does this mean you can't smoke weed in your house anymore? You don't. You gotta find someplace else to smoke your weed now.
Gotta go down to the basement.
Or you gotta do them in the This is my oldest daughter was born. Oh, see, look, you're the Bad Avengers daughter. The oldest daughter is born on the 30th. There you go. See, look at that. How many people? Boom.
Gee,
Oh, he's sleeping right now. Um, I wonder what he named. I wonder if he gave him a superhero name.
Clark,
What do we? Yeah, Clark.
Miles,
Logan. Logan. Did you name him
Larry.
Logan? What's your baby's name, Artemis? Tell me you named him Logan. Tell me. Thanos. But
Hey, hey,
well,
Steve.
yeah, yeah. What's up?
Okay, I know
So
you're not a big.
China, so China. Long story short, I just think there's a lot of censoring stuff they got to go through. Even though you said, what Adonis Osiris Ramos,
Okay, that's a tongue twister
Adonis.
for me.
Whew,
Try have Asians
Adonis.
to say that 3 times fast.
Yeah,
I
I
tell
know.
them,
Don't you? Yeah, you better not have like a Chinese mother-in-law.
Adonis,
Adonis Os.
Odysseus,
Adonis Osiris Ramos. Sorry. So what were you gonna say?
No, so well, with all the censorship, you think okay, money matters, right? We all so the topic was all about money, okay, how money affects things and how you think it's to that you do you think that maybe so fuck it with the Chinese market.
For this one, they might have to if it's that bad. But for all the movies, they can't, man. So I don't know if you remember, but prior to COVID, they used to release these movies in China first.
Yeah, yeah,
So because they knew that China was such a huge market, like I don't know, it's kind of funny, when Asia becomes a fan of something. like Asia has a funny way of taking it to like an extreme level, whether it's Japan, China, Korea, right? When they become a fan of something. So that's why when they were in they used to release it in China, they knew that these people would just be like hyped on watching all these Marvel movies. So I'm sure they're a little bummed out on not seeing this one. But it is China, right? It's not like they're gonna riot. It's not like they're going to
How can they
fight the
riot?
government.
They'll be dead.
That's what I'm saying. They're not gonna riot. They're not gonna. It's not like Hong Kong, right? Like Hong Kong, they're more free, right? Even though Hong Kong is right next to China, it's totally different for the people that don't know. So there's a lot of people that don't know. So Hong Kong and China is two different things, right? But like they get really crazy, So they know that I don't think Disney can be like F it all the way because they know like there's a lot of money to be made in China. They'll usually release it like a week or two before they release it in the US because they know like I mean how much people you got in China, And then you know what I'm saying?
They got 1 point almost. Yeah, I mean,
No, but you understand what I'm
freaking
saying, right?
billions of people
Yeah,
there, man.
you understand what I'm saying. So of course that's a huge market, you a theater, especially with a movie like that. So what I said, movie fireworks, heavy promotion, red carpets all over. Yeah, for sure.
Here's
Here in
America,
America,
welcome
just a
to the
new
new
channel
channel.
update,
They
one
want
red carpet. Yeah, so they have one. But yeah, so when they do things in like places like China, Japan, I mean, look at like TikTok videos. Like the way that the Koreans have been taking TikTok to a whole new level versus what Americans are doing with it. It's just it's crazy, right?
yeah.
So um
But
yeah, I mean they're
you
gonna
do you
lose
think that they should though? You think maybe
not
for
for they can't F all the movies. They can't do that.
well,
That's too big. Well, what is the next biggest place? Is what India, right? I mean, it's India and China is the two biggest
yeah, but
populations.
India they have their Bollywood, so I mean,
Yeah, and then they have a very interesting way of making
yeah.
movies. I heard that at the end of every Bollywood movie, like they all do like a sing and dance. Like at the
Every
end of
movie
every
have a
single
singing
movie,
dance. Yeah,
they have a singing and dance at the end of every single movie, whether it's a horror or a comedy.
Eternals. One of
Did
the
you hear?
characters is an Indian descendant, and where he is a
I'm
Bollywood
looking.
star,
I'm
and
looking
they will
forward to
have
that.
some Bollywood dance there
They're
too.
going, yeah, they're gonna have to have it because it's such a huge thing. Like at the end of every single Indian movie, there's like a huge song and dance choreography thing, and everybody wants to wait for the end of the movie. Um, yeah, I'm kind of excited about the Eternals too. The previews are whatever's, but I think it's gonna open up like this whole interesting thing. What is that?
Hey, thanks for the number, Kevin.
Okay, thank you. 1.4, 1.4. There we go.
1 point. Let's round it
One
out to
point.
1.5 billion.
Yeah, okay,
Hey,
1.5. Well, technically round out is 1.4, but anyway.
what is it?
Um yeah. So, yeah, we'll call it 1.5. That's too
1.5.
much. That's too much money to be left on the table. You can't leave that, you know. I mean, not all these people are going to watch it, of course, but
Yeah,
you
one
take
billion is on the property.
even if you take 50% of China. I mean, that's still, 700 million people, right? So 700 million people times 15, $10, $15 a ticket, bro. You can't leave that on the table. In New York City, after every movie, we get crackheads dancing outside the theaters. That's not after the movie. That's just on a day-to-day basis in New York City. that's just that's just day to day. I've been
Bro,
to New York.
you should come to
I've been to New
Washington.
York twice, and you guys got a crazy homeless problem, huh? In Seattle area, it's crazy. It looks like here in Hawaii.
It's
You remember how
crazy.
Hawaii was getting crazy with all the homeless?
Yeah, what they're making their own little town on the sidewalks.
They're literally making little communities. They got their
Yeah,
own little comic community underneath a crackhead community underneath the
it's crazy.
yeah.
They have their own little freaking community. They have their leaders and things, and
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
like there's like no
Seattle is just
reason there's no reason to like not be homeless. Do you remember back in the day the homeless guy was like that one guy that
yeah,
was homeless? right?
Now
Now
it's just
there's like communities, so it's like you don't feel homeless because you have like 9, 10 other people with 9, 10 other tents, and then one block down is another group of 9, 10. It's crazy, bro.
uh,
But yeah, I've been to New York twice, and honestly, I've only been around the tourist area, so it wasn't too bad. But you see your occasional crackheads, yeah, down the street and stuff like that. Have you
yeah,
been in New York?
yeah, I've been there like 5 times.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but yeah, New York is also. I mean, they keep the downtown clean as much as possible,
They do a good job, yeah, in the tourist areas, yeah.
but man, certain areas in New York, man, and especially around the substation areas, it's just bad. I mean, people just lying on the streets, man. It's just. Yeah, I mean, I guess every metropolitan
Yeah.
city will have.
Every it's not a New York thing. Every place that you have huge cities, any place you have huge tourist attractions, you know, it's always going to invite these kinds of people. You know what I mean? Um,
So I say fuck China. Doomsday keep China for the sake of money because 1.4, 1.5 billion populated country will, it's yeah. I mean, it's right, but it's to a point where, damn, man, this censorship bullshit is just come to a point where it's just you can't
yeah,
say what you want to say anymore.
but that's China's censorship. China's censorship is way different
Yeah,
from
but
American censorship.
but here's the thing: you being a creator, you want to make the money that you want to do. But here's a country saying, you know what? We can guarantee you certain amount of money if you release your idea in China, but you have to do this and do this and do this. It's to a point where, fuck it, man. I mean, it's to a point where, yeah,
Yeah,
there are the capital giant when it comes to money, whatever. But it's to a point where like. Man, I just want to see the movie what they have actually made out to be, instead of like Snyderverse,
yeah,
just
but at
like
the same
Snyderverse.
time, like they've seen a lot of Marvel movies that they had to change things around, right? You know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
is what it is. Whatever.
yeah, even Iron Man, they had a dip in that. They had to change certain scenery,
Mhm.
things, and now this
It's too
Shang.
bad they don't get to see it because it's a great movie. That Shang-Chi movie is
Yeah,
super. Like I literally went to go see it twice, and I loved it both times.
yeah. Well, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame in the era that we live in right now, where censorship and you can't, people are getting butthurt about what he or she says and being judgmental and you come to your own conclusion and it's just sad. It's sad, you know and well, with that said, being sad and all, okay, being sad and all, here's more downer point of this thing. I know you're not a grading guy, Steven. All right, what do you think about this freaking CGC thing? I mean, I sent my books out in ending of March.
Hmm.
They opened my packet. They put it in their system in June, early June, and it's
Okay,
still being scheduled for grading. And where we at now, close to ending
and
of
yes,
September.
September, right?
So with that said, you think grading
Oh,
is?
Confound Strange. What's up, my guy?
Hey, what's up? So you think grading comic book is being obsolete? That maybe we might get to see more raw books being, I don't know, leveled up to what grading books will be.
No,
You think people are getting away from grading books because it's
no,
no?
no. If anything, this just helps out CBCS. If anything, it would help out CBCS. That's the only thing I can see it would help doing. So the thing about it, when it comes to the timing of grading, um, because I'm not a grader or people that likes grades my book,
Mm-hmm.
I've never understood the impatientness of getting a comic graded. Like, what's the rush? And I think that's the only part I never understood. Like, why do you? What's your rush? If you're just grading a now, if you're grading a book because there's a show coming up and you're planning to put it in the show or you're planning to sell it. I can kind of get. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're trying to sell it at a certain time where you know, like if you're a speculator and you have a book and you know that if I can grade the book and I need to get it out by this time so that when the I can sell it at the proper time. That I get. But I've never understood what people's rush was. I do understand for people that's been grading for a while that they never had to wait this long. This is kind of a new thing for them. So I think when you started first grading and when we first kind of just met and you were grading and all this stuff, it didn't take us that long. Like I
No,
remember we would give it
one
to
month.
Freddie. We would give it to Freddy's. Freddy's would press our books. Freddy's would send it out. It would get back to Freddy's. Freddy's would send it to us. It took like about a month,
Yeah,
at most. So, for people who's not used to the timeline, um, they're not used to the timeline. I can see where they get a little anxious, right? And I do understand it's kind of like, it's your comic, right? You don't know what's going on. It's your baby, it's your collection, and you just want it back home, right? You want to send it out, yeah, and then you want it back home. And I get that part. But to me, it's just like another company to step in and pick up the slack. Yeah, so like, someone other than CGC will benefit. Yeah, so like CBCS, right? And that's the other thing too, is like I've never understood how CBCS has never been the grading company versus CGC. I know there's a popularity thing as far as like the looks of the case and the look of the label. I know that's been something that people really like about CGC, but like I've never understood if you have a company such as CBCS who is the harder grader, why wouldn't that be the company? Because that means if they're a harder grader, then their grades would be more of a
accurate. Yeah.
truer grade. Again, I'm not a grader, so there's a lot of things I really don't know. There's a lot of things in fact, I can't even say. But on the outside looking in, I'm just one of those people like this doesn't make sense to me. Like these certain things, or like people complain about like the label. Like it's not a bad label that CBCS has.
No.
So it's not a horrendous label, but people is all like, "Oh, I like the look of the CGC label," and then there's other people like, "Well, most of my books is CGC, so I don't want to have this one book that's CBCS."
Yeah, that's
Or
me.
yeah, so I understand that too because like I literally bought. Okay, so in my golf bag, I just bought a bunch of TaylorMade irons, right? And inside of and inside of that set also came I got a 4 wood and a 4 wood and a 5 hybrid, and it's all tailor made, right? But my driver was Cobra, right? Sticking out of my golf bag was a Cobra. So I took that Cobra driver to Roger Dunn. I had them give me credit, and I had them give me, and I bought a sim driver, a tailor made driver, because I
Why?
wanted my old bag to be all tailor made. I
But
wanted
Steven,
brand.
you
What is
know
it
that
called? Brand. When you're dedicated to one brand, right? So I can see why CGC, but as far as like your wait time and it's taking so long, that the market is booming right now. It's a crazy market. It's a huge boom. This is the biggest boom that we've seen probably since the 90s. It's nothing like the 90s, but it's the biggest boom we've seen since the 90s. And COVID had a huge part of it, right?
yeah.
We had all these people that were getting technically paid more than um, sometimes they were getting paid unemployment more than their regular job. Two, they couldn't go out. Three, they were watching YouTube a lot more. So the community itself grew, right? Like the community is like the largest that I've seen since you and I have been doing YouTube. It's always been big. People has always come in and out, but the mass amount of people that came in all at one time, this is the biggest that I've seen, right? Um,
I said I look at all the pictures, picture CBCS and Bugatti, the CGCNs and Safari, Red Safari flies off the shelf like crazy. But Bugatti takes months to get built because the craft and grade takes time to do it. I mean, that's a good, good.
CGC also uses their influencers to shout out all the grading companies from convention they were. Yeah, and that's true. And the thing about it is like, they don't even really need to do that because CGC is, and I think that, for a while they're probably going to still be the top. But like I said, because I don't grade a lot of books. But your original question was, is a raw grade book going to be worth the same as a slab book? That's never going to happen. Because the thing about it is like if you think of any hobby, right, whether it's coin collecting, stamp, money collecting, a raw $100 bill from the 1800s, I don't know, versus one that has the PSA, has a grading on it, has a grader's notes, that's always going to be worth more because you already took it to the professionals, right? Same thing with the coins. You already took it to a professionals. We know it's not fake. We know it's a real coin. We know it's, in pristine condition. So same thing with the comics, right? Um, One thing that a lot of people don't do with their comics is probably when they buy a new one is probably open it up, make sure all the pages are there, make sure nothing's cut open, right? So when you have a slab book, like everything's already there, you know. Oh, Martian.
What's up?
Speaking speaking of books,
What are you guys talking about?
no, so David was saying just CGC is taking a long time to bring his books back, and he was just saying, do you think people are going to be pissed off enough to the point that maybe grading becomes not so much obsolete, but people just like screw grading? And I was just saying, I don't think so. But I said, if anything, it might potentially open up more of an avenue for CBCS to just kind of pounce on that a little bit more. But like, is that all graded books in the back?
Yeah,
Okay, so is that all? It looks like CGC from here.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so like somebody like Martian, like, and I'm just assuming I can't speak for Martian, but there's somebody like Martian where like, if I start telling him, you know what, stop going to CGC, go to CBCS, his labels won't match. He might be one of those people like, dude, I can't do it.
You see, like, no, not
It's not.
happening.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put it
What
this
is,
way.
what is your dedication to CGC?
So it's either PC or flip, right? So if you're gonna, to me right now, I've probably done over 100 books submissions to CGC.
Hey, you know that
Um,
book right by your cheek, that white one?
yeah,
Yeah, the Wonder
Let
Woman.
it, that, yeah. Can I have that?
sure.
Okay. Okay, go on.
Um,
No.
Yeah, sure.
so all those are PCs. Like they're not going to go anywhere. So I would
Well,
prefer
except for
CGC.
that, one. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me bring that back.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't do it. I don't want to see it. Look at this guy. He's got a comic shop in his house.
No kidding, man.
No, literally, it's a comic
Okay,
shop.
wait. So here's the reason that I brought this up. Okay, is because I'm not saying that it will ever be a you can't measure to a graded book, but grading comes to a point where, as a collector is all about being tangible. You know, like you said, some
Okay, so
people.
let me go back to my original question. What is your
Okay,
rush? What's your
not
rush? Why do you need it back so quickly?
well, it's not about the rush. It's to a point where fast track at that time was supposed to be what maybe 60 days, okay, but now it's pushed back to 115 days for fast track, okay, and now we're back to like 80 days or 7. It's not about being
It's almost
rushed.
as equal right now. I mean, fast track and a regular submission are almost as equal. It doesn't make any sense why.
No, it doesn't. So
But plus, add the fact that if you're doing a 9.8 pre-screen, which most of the time I do, it adds an additional 30 days.
exactly. So here's my thing is to a point where, okay, you guys are backed up due to this COVID, pandemic, and you guys are backed up, and fast track. You're paying $20 to $25 and so on, so per book to be fast track. That means you paying extra for service now to a point where, okay, I don't mind waiting 3 months, 4 months, but it's to a point where why are you guys keep doing this private signing to back up more and more? Now you got Robert Downey Jr.'s, now you got so and so actors, you got Gal Gadot, and all these private signing are being. So who has the first priority? does the private signing has the first priority, or the one that I paid $20 per book to be fast tracked, which it's been what, April, May, June, July, August, September. It's been 6 months now. So why you guys keep doing this? You know. So I mean that's my thing, and to a point where the grading is come to a point where not average Joe were is able to afford CGC grading anymore. You know. So that's what I mean is where the raw market will be a little bit more, I guess, it more attractive now.
I've
So
always been into raw books just because they're cheaper, right? Like, so I'm not a grader.
exactly being cheap.
I'm not a grader, but I've always been able to look at a book and kind of just determine if if this quality I'm okay with. And you got to remember, we're talking about one book we could be talking about is a Silver Age book, and one book we would be talking about is a modern book. And so for me, it was. I mean, I don't know. I've never been a grader. Like, I've never been that guy that just grades a bunch of books because I'd rather save all that money and buy another book. But that was just me, right? But then I would, but then you look at Martian's Wall and you're like, well, yeah, I guess it does make sense to kind of put everything
I'll be
nicely as
honest
well.
with you though,
But
that's how I started off, right? I started off as just a raw comic book collector because my mentality was also like, why am I going to submit? That's another two or three key books that I could get for that submission.
mhm.
But then you kind of have to look at the fact that you have to support the hobby, right? And the only good way to support the hobby is to flip some of the books. To
And the
do
best
that,
money you can
obviously
get is by
grading,
grading. Yeah, I got you.
yeah, it is where you need to go, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
No, it makes
if you're
sense.
looking to support the hobby, then that's kind of how you want to do it, unless
Yeah,
you got disposable income. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Look, I hate to go while Martian just got on, but
Yeah,
it is my
well, dude,
anniversary. Martian,
happy
hopefully can stay
anniversary,
on.
happy belated birthday, and
But yeah, continue the conversation. I think it's a great topic, and it's probably best that I leave because I don't know anything about CGC anyway, except for what I learned from you guys. So, but you guys have a good one, man.
all right.
All right,
happy
cheers.
anniversary, brother.
Thanks, brother. Goodbye.
Yeah, so it's to a point where I mean, yeah, grading is come to a point where not everybody can grade comic books anymore. It becomes to a point where even for me, I'm thinking twice because I have 20 books to send out, but I'm thinking, Jesus, $20 book. If I want to get a fast track or not, they raise the price, and now I have to wait so and so. It's not about the waiting time. It's to a point where I, if I'm gonna be sending out things, it shouldn't take 6 months.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. And
Now let me ask
I'm
you
all
this.
about tangible. I need to touch things. I need to have it
Yeah,
in my hand. You know.
but
Look,
I'm not a CBCS guy. So
no, I'm not either.
what's their turnaround time right now?
From my understanding, a lot of people were sending their books on. Let's say if they send out the books today, right? They receive it, or maybe within a week or two. I think they get their book within 6 to 8 weeks. Business. I mean, so their turnaround has massively improved. You remember when CBCS couldn't get their shit done and they get their books like 8 months to 10 months, but now they're a little bit more faster to a point where CGC is being backlash for their time, and along with that, they keep adding private signing. You know, it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah. You
that's
know what?
why.
I actually picked up the phone and called CGC on not this submission. I just did an unboxing a couple days ago, and not that submission, but the one prior. And I'm just kind of trying to feel them out, see kind of how things are going. They're expecting turnaround times not to slow down, even into the upcoming new year, because of the amount of books they continue to get. Right, so people are continuing to submit books irregardless of the turnaround time, which is
Mhm.
not helping anything out, which is fine, right? It's just a part of the game. So that just tells you the that more people are getting into the hobby, that more people are submitting books, which is healthy, right? For comic book collecting, but there is a price that you have to pay in regards to that wait time, and it is kind of to Dune's point. I never looked at it that way. Like, what's the rush? But I'm also like you, impatient. I want my book back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
that simple. You know what I mean? And it's not so much that some of the books I want to keep, some of the books I want to flip, but the fact of the matter is, like, man, I submitted my last submission that they received Cinco de Mayo, and it was 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior that they actually received it, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Same as for
so
me.
so in April is when I actually sent it. It took takes 3 weeks, which I think is BS that they don't add that to their turnaround time. You know what I mean? Because that's really when the time should be ticking. Is the day they receive it. It's in your possession.
Right?
So what you do with it, like that should be added to it. So that's the only thing that I didn't like. Plus the fact of the matter that there right now there's some inconsistency as far as their grading because they're hiring so many people. Like you don't know what's what. You know what I mean? Like who's grading? Are they adding more graders? Are they adding more people to the receiving departments? I don't know. You know what I mean? So that's the question. So for me, I'm gonna put a pause on submissions only because I want some of that the newbiness to settle on their end. You know what I mean? Um, my last submission was 25 books. I got on a pre-screen, I got 15 books back on 9.8. So 10 were rejects, which isn't bad, but I looked these books over and they're pretty clean. You know what I mean? Plus they were pressed and clean to begin with, right? So I don't know, you know what I mean? And again, you could also make the case that 9.6, 9.8, they're so close together that, you could make the argument. Um, but
No,
I'm
well,
trimming.
here's the thing, David. Here's the thing. 9.6 and the 9.8 is a huge difference. To me, it's a huge difference. It's like it's a subjective thing where you know people will make mistake. As a human, we're not a machine, but to a point where I see 9.6 and 9.8 consistently, and there's always a one tick or two tick color breaking tick on the spine that will consider that as a 9.6 instead of a 9.8. So I can see where that is going, but it's to a point where, man, I'm done.
Yeah, but we always say grading is subjective, right? But should it be? Like a 9.6 is a 9.6 and a 9.8 is a 9.8. Like
Exactly. I mean,
I,
but
I don't get that inconsistency always. Like now, there's a clear difference between a 9.4 and a 9.6, 9.8.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's clear. That's you'll see two ticks for sure, color breaks and stuff like that. But I've received some 9.8s that I've questioned, like
same
freebies,
here, same
right? And
here.
I'm like, I'll take them. And that's why sometimes I'll submit a book, and roll the dice. Hey, whether it comes back 9.8 or reject, whatever, I'll just go back and resubmit it again, and more than likely get that 9.6 for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's a gamble.
it is. I mean, for going back is my ultimate fallout, the Jerkovic variant. It only has that one spine tick that breaks color in the front cover, right next to I guess it's Gwen Stacy, that's on the cover of the corner. And I submitted that book. I got that signed by, you know, I resubmitted it, got a press, came back as a 9.6, got Clayton Crane to sign it and resubmitted, came back as a 9.6, and now to a point where, yeah, I mean, yeah, I gotta respect the 9.8 more than a 9.6, but there is some few 9.6 out there that can be passed again, can be passed as a 9.8. For example, I mean, I've been showing this. I got this for $100.
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
good deal.
yeah, I don't see any spine ticks. I don't see any breaking color. So I'm gonna have, he's got freaking issue. Daryl, yeah. See, but that's an old label too. Now, back then, there was a little bit harder in the grade as well.
So this was a book, and you saw it, dude.
Yeah.
I cracked it. Um, I gave it to Sean. He pressed it, and it came back 9.8.
See, so it's
And
a
there's always
gamble.
that myth, right? That we
Yeah,
know, like the
but
old labels.
but that's the thing. That book was for your PC. So even though they take a year, it wouldn't make any difference. But it's to a point where now CGC is becoming such a tycoon in this company. I mean, in this grading company with us collectors that Now you have LCS, right? Then you have all the other companies that's sending. I'm telling you, they're not sending 25 pre-screen. They're selling thousands of books at once, getting pre-screen to get the 9.8 or better. So I, I'm on a back burner. I'm done with collecting for right now. I'm done with just sending anything to CGC until, like you said, things settle down. But will it settle down?
Yeah,
I,
yeah. From what I gathered from them, they're not slowing down. You know what I mean?
no.
So the submissions are coming in. They got moved into, and there's also like the fact that they have new facility, right? So and new people coming in. So there's training, there's new protocols, there's new everything. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
So here's the thing. You as a company, you have a grading company, right? Wouldn't you want to be a transparent what the process go through and have us, the who invest in their company, to see exactly what the facilities look like and how they're being treated, what's the process from receiving it to end to to finished product. We don't have any of that.
yeah,
All I know is that there could be a trained monkey
yeah. No,
with maybe the
it's
glove or
definitely
not gloves, handling our books.
yeah, it's definitely questions, right, that the community has asked, but they haven't necessarily responded.
No.
They do. I don't know if you know, they do have a YouTube channel that they used to do content with,
Yeah.
and I think they've stopped most of the content.
Yeah, because the dude didn't have his freaking glove on when he was
Yeah,
handling those comic books. But I mean, it's to a point where it is a great time for us as a comic collector and within the community. It's getting more recognition than ever. But it's to a point where, man, I'm getting burnt out.
yeah.
I'm
I
getting
think a
burnt out.
lot of people are kind of getting burnt out on that one. It just all. I mean, the price. I think it just goes back to prices, right? The prices are just so jacked up that even as a new collector, like how do you purchase some of this stuff? You know what I mean?
You can't. I mean, all your books in the back. I'm sure you can buy a nice Tesla right there.
Yeah, believe it or not, all those books were raw, dude. Like I don't really buy CGC's 9.8s or 9.6s. I mean, I'm a hunter, right? So and um, patience. I mean, I've waited on a lot of these books to have the right book to buy it raw. You know what I mean? Because I know there's a premium to a 9.6 and a 9.8, and 90% of what I have on that wall was all stuff that I bought raw and I submitted, and pretty lucky. I think all but one book is a 9.4 up there, but everything's a 9.6, 9.8. Luckily, you know what I mean? But yeah, it goes back to patience. It goes back to the market is walling out, man, just completely walling out. And will there be a rock bottom? That's always the question. But I think
No,
the
don't think
market's
so.
really, really healthy right now. You know what I mean? With how we're going with all the movies and Disney Plus. I mean, they're just pushing the stuff. And so the more content that's out there, people are always going to chase and chase and chase and chase. And that's kind of the struggle that we're going through right now is um, something gets hot, there's news, people go after it. 6 months later, they forget about it, they jump on something else.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to that book that you just showed, that's the time you should buy it. Is like after the fact, right? Once the hype is over, get those books that you really want.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about a lot of things where like how have you read the article about Dicko Estate is suing Disney due to the character content? They want to get the full rights and they want to get their loyalties. They want to get their recognition. And we talked about that. And if you want to add your input or what your thoughts on that, you have
I'm not
anything?
caught up on that one, dude.
Well, and also it's to a point where the second subject was about Shang-Chi, how Chinese government are abandoning a lot of due to censorship. And, it's to a point where do we really need, you know, to be, controlled by this Chinese market? That I've been telling Doom is like, look, you are set to made up a movie to be this way, you know, and due to certain investor, due to certain country, because you know that they will make certain amount of money, what they do is they tweak it, they alternate the story just to make sure that it passes their censorship, for the country. It's like, if money is money, it's to a point where, you know what, why can you just do a movie like how you set out to be, for the characters as us readers or being reading comic book to follow in that certain line without being alternate, being altered, and just say, you know what, screw the Chinese market, let's just focus on whatever countries are interested in seeing a movie, you know. I mean, going back again, it's like censorship is I guess is good, but it's to a point where does it end and how far would they would take, and also is to a point. Other thing is about Ditko estate against Disney is, come on, all you want is money. It's not about, for the legacy of Ditko. Everybody know who Steve Ditko is. Everybody know who Stan Lee is. Jack Kirby, and but come on, labeling as legacy of those characters, the creators, to be recognized, and they want to get us. It's all about money, guys. So it's to a point where does it end, and how far where this go? And I hope that Disney actually, I hope Disney win the suit, so that we don't have to worry about if the certain characters can be used or cannot be used. And and when it comes to censorship, is to a point where, you know what, just make the movie you guys want and let us decide if we like it or not, regarding what the religion and so and so are. Because I can, it's to a point where it's too much. Too much. And as for CGC, I just have to say one thing about CGC. Stop fucking getting damn private signing, man. Just grade my damn book and send it to me already. So I can cancel my subscription for next year and just say, you know what, I'll just take a whole 2022 rest and see what's happened in 2023. You know? So that's pretty much it, man. You know, your submission and your last CGC unboxing was just, man, if all you 6 people who's watching this show right now, if you want to see some freaking books that is really hard to get, and man, it's just go subscribe to Martian Comic Hunter. He got some freaking like really rare, like hard to find variants, and some certain books that is really hard to get in 98. He has it. So check out his video, give a thumbs up, and subscribe to him. And anything you want to add, David, before we head out?
Yeah, dude. Sorry, I was a little pressed on time. I couldn't join earlier.
No
Pressed on
problem,
time
man.
today, just with the family stuff. So I do apologize about that. But yeah, check out the submissions. You catch me at the Martian Comic Hunter on YouTube. You catch me at the Martian Comic Hunter here on or on Instagram, and my eBay store at the Martian Comic Hunter. So thanks for the plug there. As far as CGC is concerned, as far as last comments, I do agree with you. They first and foremost, they are a grading company, and they need to take that into consideration as far as their first priority is
Yeah.
grading those comic books. Besides any other thing, sometimes when companies lose focus of what their primary job is, people bail out. And right now, I completely agree with you. Their sole focus is not submissions; it's other things. It's signings. It's this. It's that here and there. That obviously adds to it. But I think first and foremost, their submissions should be number one priority. The community is at an uproar with turnaround time, and I think they need to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. A lot of the CGC unboxing I hear is, okay, after 6 months in CGC, I finally got my books back. Let's bring it down to, oh, you know what? After 3 months, I got my books back too. 6 weeks, I would love to see more of that instead of, man, it's been 6 weeks, it's been 8 months, it's been a whole year. Our chemist, he sent out a book last year, he still haven't received them yet. So our chemist, man, if you're still on with us, I hope you get your books and all come back as a 98. And yeah, and shout out to Doom 143. He's been MIA for months, but he was able to join us on for his anniversary. Actually, he said tomorrow today was his
Today.
wedding anniversary. So
Yeah.
thanks Doom for taking his time to be on the show for about and give us his opinion and his thoughts about certain subject that we discovered. And David, thanks for showing in, even though you're late, man. Always thank you for your support. And all right, guys, this will be it. And enjoy the game. Happy Sunday. And until next time, aloha, mahalo, shoots.